Imagine a court case so all-consuming that on the day of the verdict, long-distance call volume dropped by 58%. Imagine a moment so gripping that Domino's Pizza reported record sales simply because nobody in America wanted to look away from the TV long enough to cook dinner. We aren't talking about a political assassination or a declaration of war. We're talking about a trial that cost the U.S. economy an estimated $480 million in lost productivity in a single day. We are talking about the juice, O.J. Simpson. To understand this murder, you first have to understand the myth. He wasn't just a football player. He was the American dream personified. He was the guy you wanted to have a beer with. But on a foggy June night in 1994, that dream didn't just die, it was slaughtered. Let's go back to the start. It's 12:10 a.m., Brentwood, Los Angeles, an affluent, quiet neighborhood. An Akita dog with bloody paws is barking frantically on the street. This isn't just noise, it's an alarm. A neighbor notices the distress and follows the dog to 875 South Bundy Drive. What they found there was a scene straight out of a nightmare. Lying at the foot of the stairs was Nicole Brown Simpson, O.J.'s ex-wife. She had been attacked with such ferocity, she was nearly decapitated. Nearby lay Ronald Goldman, a 25-year-old waiter who was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Stopping by to return a pair of sunglasses Nicole's mother had left at a restaurant. There was no dramatic villain monologue here. Just silence, a cup of Ben and Jerry's ice cream melting on the banister, and two lives ended in a frenzy of rage. Detectives arriving at the scene found what looked like a trail of red breadcrumbs leading right to the suspect. They found a bloody left-hand leather glove. They found bloody footprints from a size 12 Bruno Magli shoe, a luxury brand O.J. had publicly called ugly but was later photographed wearing. But the smoking gun wasn't the shoe or the glove. It was microscopic. It was the DNA. Back in 1994, DNA profiling was the new star witness. The prosecution relied on a method called RFLP. Unlike modern rapid testing, RFLP required larger samples but was incredibly specific. It works by cutting DNA strands at specific points to create a unique fingerprint. The prosecution's experts calculated the probability that the blood found at the scene belonged to anyone other than O.J. Simpson. The number? Approximately 1 in 170 million. To put that in perspective, that is roughly half the population of the United States at the time. Mathematically, it was a slam dunk. But as the prosecution was about to learn, in a courtroom, math doesn't always win against a good story. June 17, O.J. is formally charged with 2 counts of murder, but instead of surrendering, he vanishes. What followed is arguably the most surreal moment in television history. A white Ford Bronco driving at a leisurely 35 miles per hour down Interstate 405, trailed by a phalanx of police cars. Inside, O.J. wasn't driving. His friend Al Cowlings was. O.J. was in the back, holding a gun to his head, clutching a rosary and pictures of his kids. 95 million people watched this live. It interrupted the NBA Finals. It wasn't just a police pursuit, it was a funeral procession for a reputation. People actually lined the overpasses, holding signs that said, "Go O.J." A chilling preview of how divided public opinion was about to become. The prosecution had the blood, the hair, and the timeline. But O.J. had the dream team. Lead attorneys Johnny Cochran and Robert Shapiro decided on a bold strategy. They didn't just defend O.J., they put the Los Angeles Police Department on trial. They argued that the evidence wasn't just wrong, it was planted. Their ace in the hole was Detective Mark Furman, the man who found the bloody glove. The defense unearthed audio tapes proving Furman used racial slurs and had bragged about police brutality. Suddenly, that 1 in 170 million DNA match didn't matter if the jury believed the blood was planted by a corrupt cop. And then came the mistake that cost the prosecution everything. prosecutor Christopher Darden asked O.J. to try on the gloves found at the scene. Leather shrinks when wet. O.J. struggled. He grimaced. He held his hands up to the jury, and Johnny Cochran delivered the line that defined the decade. "If it doesn't fit, you must acquit." October 3rd, 1995. After months of testimony, the jury deliberated for less than 4 hours. When the clerk read "not guilty," the country fractured. News footage shows a split screen of America. Cheers in some neighborhoods, stunned, weeping silence in others. But the story didn't end there. 2 years later, the families of the victims sued O.J. in civil court. In a criminal case, you need proof beyond a reasonable doubt, say 99% certainty. In a civil case, you only need a preponderance of the evidence, basically 51%. Under this standard, O.J. was found liable for the deaths and ordered to pay $33.5 million. He never paid most of it, but fate has a strange sense of humor. Exactly 13 years to the day after his acquittal, O.J. Simpson was convicted of armed robbery in Las Vegas for trying to steal back his own sports memorabilia at gunpoint. The man who walked free from a double murder was locked away for stealing bobbleheads and autograph books. Justice, it seems, just took the scenic route. The O.J. Simpson trial changed everything. Forensic science, 24-hour news cycles, and our understanding of celebrity. It showed us that the truth in a courtroom isn't always about what actually happened. It's about what you can prove and who tells the better story. What do you think? Was the verdict a victory against police corruption or a tragic failure of the justice system? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you in the next case.